They've destroyed a man's reputation, and they want to destroy it even more. And I think people are going to see that in the midterms. If we brought George Washington here and we said, we have George Washington, the Democrats would vote against him. 36 years, there's no charge. All of a sudden, the hearings are over, and the rumors start coming out. And then you have this other con artist, Avenatti, come out with another beauty today. This is just a game that they're playing. It's a con game. It's at the highest level.
It is at the highest levels. What happens today down in Washington will effectively determine whether or not Brett Kavanaugh is the next justice to sit on the U.S. Supreme Court. Kellyanne Conway, counselor to the president, is live from the North Lawn today. Kellyanne, we've got all these accusations now at the 11th hour. We've got two guys who came out to the Senate Judiciary Committee and they said, we think she's mistaken because we would like to say we assaulted her, which, you know, we hadn't heard that until this morning. What's your headline from this very busy Thursday morning?
That both Dr. Ford and Judge Kavanaugh will be heard today under oath, and that they may both be right. That she had something very awful happen to her when she was 15, and that Judge Kavanaugh was not there and was not involved whatsoever. And that really does go to credibility. They could both be correct. But I think there's so much been said and written and done with respect to Ford and Kavanaugh that I want to focus my comments, if I may, this morning on the judge, jury, and executioners. Those would be the Democrats on the Senate Judiciary Committee, who through over the course of 30 hours of sworn testimony with Judge Kavanaugh already put on such a spectacle and a circus long before we had a conversation, long before the country knew who Christine Blasey Ford is. And these folks, some of whom took campaign donations from Harvey Weinstein, palled around with Bill Cosby, now going to jail for being a sexual predator, for sexually assaulting someone criminally. Some of them, a few of them, I think 3 of them who are going to be voting today, refused to remove Bill Clinton for office for having sex with an intern right behind me in the Oval Office. So I want everybody to see what this is about to them. This is hyper-partisanship, haughty, hypocritical, hapless Democrats on that Senate Judiciary Committee who the president is absolutely right are here to destroy a man. They're mad that the swing vote on the United States Supreme Court could be taken over by a Donald Trump appointee to the Supreme Court. That's what this is about. And I would have more respect for them if they said, I don't like the way he combs his hair, than coming in at the 12th hour with this, because they've ruined a couple of lives here by sitting on this information. This woman didn't want to come forward. They smoked her out. They leaked her identity. But for the Republicans on the Senate Judiciary Committee in the majority, Dr. Ford may never have even had today to testify. And Judge Kavanaugh should be heard from before. So everybody should be watching them. They're not under oath today. I like to put all the senators under oath, not just the testifiers.
Kellyanne, true or false that the president behind the scenes, which you would be behind the scenes as much as anybody, is really kind of upset at Republicans for not being stronger, for dragging this out? And because he dragged it out, all these other allegations have come out. Is that correctly characterizing the president's demeanor?
Well, from the beginning, we have said that this is the Senate Judiciary Committee's process. They have to decide what works best. They have gone over and above to accommodate Dr. Ford. She had a laundry list of demands, including, for the first time in American jurisprudence, perhaps being the accuser but going second. What is Judge Kavanaugh supposed to respond to? A Washington Post report? Media rumors? Instead of a sworn testimony that she would give to respond to? So they have accommodated her request over the course of 11 days now. And I think that my boss moves at a pace that most people are not accustomed to. And I do think for Judge Kavanaugh, he's been treated very unfairly by the process because he's been ready to raise his right hand and testify from when he even heard the anonymous false accusation, as he has characterized it. After hearing this woman's identity for the first time, the very same day, he went and gave sworn testimony to the committee by phone. So he's been willing, under penalty of either perjury or lying to Congress, he's been willing again and again to testify. So he's been waiting for 11 days. We know what both of them are going to say. Their statements are all for the public to see. So I think the process has been very accommodating for a very unique and unusual situation. But everything that the left has said that they're concerned in here getting to the truth, having her be heard, not having her be ignored and insulted. I'm the one who 10 days ago said, don't insult her, don't ignore her. And here we are, 10 days later, they're going to testify. But the fact that this morning the USA Today came out with the sworn testimony, or I guess the interviews by some in the Senate with these two men who say it was them. They were there and they had sexual contact or assault, I guess is what they're confessing to. I didn't read everything, so I want to be careful here. That's big news. The other thing is, as for these gang rape allegations, I would tell that woman, go march down to the Montgomery County courthouse today and file a claim, because as I understand it, as a fully recovered attorney of many years, sex crimes have no statute of limitations in Maryland. So why didn't she years ago, but why isn't she even now going and trying to get that prosecuted there? Is it because there's not a lot of evidence of that? I mean, we just can't have a trial by TV, on TV, and through the press. They try to do that again and again with so many people, and it won't happen here, because actually people will see Brett Kavanaugh today will raise his right hand, as he has so many times throughout his adult life, swearing an oath to the Constitution when he was sworn in as assistant to the president here in the Bush White House, as he was sworn into the second highest court, the D.C. Circuit, pledging an oath to the Constitution to be honest. He will do that again today, swearing to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. But that Senate Judiciary Committee, and including the preening Democrats on it, who already said they were going to vote against this man long before we knew who these accusers are, that they should also tell the truth. They should tell the truth in their so-called pursuit of the truth.
Okay.
Kellyanne, even if he is innocent, it's a shame. If he is innocent, it's a shame that his reputation is tainted. But I'm hearing now from just conversations, when you have conversations at the dinner table, or you get in a taxi here in New York and people are talking about this. These are conversations that are happening all over the country. Are people now going to the president, or is the president now telling you that he's considering nominating someone else? What if he is innocent? His reputation is still tainted. People have already made up their minds. You have a lot of Democrats that are already saying that they believe these women. The women are telling the truth. Let's say he's up for a vote on Friday. He doesn't make it through. What happens next? Is the president telling you he's going to nominate someone else before the midterms?
I'm sorry, Lindsay, that's a complete hypothetical at this point, because the president is standing by Judge Kavanaugh. And it's important that we receive these testimonies today for the entire world to see. And then, as I read it, the Senate Judiciary Committee will have a vote, and when Judge Kavanaugh makes it out of committee, I guess when they schedule the next vote through the weekend or next week, when the Supreme Court sits for its next term, then we'll know whether Judge Kavanaugh has enough votes to make it to the court.
Sure.
Before that, everything else is premature and is speculation. And honestly, respectfully, it plays into the media game, the mainstream media game of palace intrigue and personnel and personalities instead of principles. You heard President Trump, in his own words, in his own voice last night, say that this is a sham and a shame, and what they've done to a man and his wife and his children. And let me just make very clear, Brett Kavanaugh lives in this area, right? Judge Gorsuch came from Colorado. We all live in this area. I know current Georgetown prep students and parents. We all talk to each other. We're all politically different. We're all very different, but we're all our neighbors. And if the mainstream media who lives here thinks that they can run into Brett Kavanaugh and Ashley Kavanaugh and those two young girls in the local grocery store, the coffee shop, and they can live with themselves the way they've treated him, just him. Don't talk about the accusers for a moment. Don't talk about the process. And don't talk about the lifetime appointment to the Supreme Court. Have you seen some of these senators? Folks in the states that keep on electing them, they effectively have lifetime appointments to the United States Senate. And so if they can live with themselves the way they've treated a human being, and they can look their kids in the eye and say, I treated him as a human being the way I would want you to be treated. I'd really like that. I know you see me out here as counselor to the president on TV often, doing lots of things inside, by the president's side for over 2.5 years now. But I'm also a mother of 4 school-age children, including an almost 14-year-old son. And the conversations being had in the suburbs among women are not just about those accusers. It's about the accused and the implications this can have to all the boys and men in our lives.
Sure. And Kellyanne, you're absolutely right. Washington is a small town. You bump into people everywhere. You were talking about what the president said yesterday at his press conference, and he was very clear. He's standing behind Brett Kavanaugh, but at the same time, he wants to hear Dr. Ford and her testimony. But a number of members of the press were asking, why are you so skeptical, Mr. President, about the stories of these accusers? And he said, look, I've been accused falsely, he says, many, many times, so I know exactly how it feels.
Well, that's right. And he also made reference to something I'm sure people had forgotten during the transition, that it was revealed that money was offered to women to come forward and make these accusations against then candidate Trump. And so he doesn't know how it feels. But let me make one slight clarification. The president is also talking about the unfairness of the process. So they're again saying you're skeptical of the accusers. He's skeptical also of the way this process has rolled out, not just in the Senate Judiciary Committee, just in the 12th hour. A man who has successfully undergone 6 thorough vets by the FBI, and they are thorough, trust me. They talk to everybody who's ever known you. They paw through lots of papers, as well they should. He succeeded that way. Nobody ever came forward for 36 years. We're talking about allegations of conduct as a teenager, and then he became a powerful man alone with female law clerks, and they support him, not a scintilla, not a whiff of an allegation. And so the president is also talking about the unfairness of the process, that somebody can submit answers to 1,300 written questions, produce over 1 million documents, have 30 hours plus of sworn testimony to the same committee, and sit and have authored over 300 opinions that everybody has scoured, over 300 opinions that have been scrutinized over time on the D.C. circuit, and nothing. So the president is also saying it's unfair, and the president is right. This guilty until proven innocent because you are nominated to the Supreme Court by President Trump. It's terrible to try to shame and blame and name people merely because of whom is nominated to the Supreme Court. But the president is tough. Judge Kavanaugh is tough. He wants to clear his name, as he told your colleague Martha McCallum. And I hope he shows some righteous indignation today, because I know it's hard for him. He's not a politician like the politicians he'll be facing. He's not a slick person on TV who knows how to play for the cameras. He's a judge. He's a public servant.
Gotcha.
And people are saying
Kellyanne?
she didn't want to do this, but he didn't ask for this either.
Kellyanne?
I'm glad they're going to be there.
Yeah, let's talk about something else that could or could not be happening today. We thought it was on the schedule. The president indicated it might be put off. And that's the president's one-on-one with Deputy Attorney General Rod Rosenstein, who came to the White House Monday. Wild speculation he was about to be fired or resign. Now they're going to meet one-on-one Thursday. Maybe for the first time since that article came out saying that he considered the 25th Amendment wearing a wire to try to set the president up to show he's incompetent and oust him along with Andy McCabe. I'm just wondering today if that meeting comes off, if there's any indication from the president about which way he'll go.
Well, the president said yesterday he would prefer that the Deputy Attorney General stay on the job and get the job done. Those were his words yesterday. At the same time, the president and the Deputy Attorney General have vowed to meet. Those two men are going to have the conversation. The president, I know firsthand, will ask the tough questions, will want all the truthful answers. And the Deputy Attorney General has denied this. He has said that it was just a joke. It's scheduled for today, but the president is flying back from UNGA. We're at a very successful few days at UNGA, and he will come back here, and there's a lot on his docket, including the meeting with the Deputy Attorney General. If it needs to get pushed a few hours or to the next day, maybe it will. But they're both committed to speaking with each other and resolving this once and for all.
Your observation, because I talked to one of Rod Rosenstein's friends yesterday, and he said the perception is that they don't get along. He said, but Rod Rosenstein told him they do get along, and they agree on one thing. Andy McCabe cannot be trusted, and because of that, they've almost been galvanized together. Is that something that you could get behind, too, or...?
It's a very fair point. I've been in meetings very recently with both the Deputy Attorney General and the President, and there's a great exchange of information on the issues affecting this country. Deputy Attorney General was here the other day for a meeting, a cabinet-level meeting with General Kelly and others. I think that some in the media got caught between, is it firing, is it resignation, how about it's a meeting? And I hope they ferreted out the leakers anyway. I hope that somebody leaked bad information and figured out who did that. Here, I love that. But what I want to say in addition is that there's a point to be made about McCabe. You know, when Rod Rosenstein offered that authored that letter on May 9th, 2017, go back and read it. It really goes way above and beyond a simple, I think it's time for Comey to go. He says why. He says that Jim Comey, as FBI director, totally usurped the position of and the rights of the then Attorney General Loretta Lynch, that Jim Comey did the textbook example of what not to do once the end of investigation, in this case, the email investigation to Hillary Clinton. He said that the mishandling of the email investigation by Jim Comey had brought together people of differing opinions at the DOJ and FBI. And so I think there are people at the FBI who are mad at Rod Rosenstein. And remember, I see a trend here. Jim Comey, head of the FBI, got fired, had notes, got a book deal, leaked the notes to the media. Andy McCabe got fired, had notes, got a book deal, leaked the notes to the media. I see a trend here. And so I think we should look at that too. Never underestimate the power of people's egos. And self, I think, idolatry.
And, of course, the Peter Strzok, Lisa Page love story is going to hit the press any day now,
Don't forget Bruce Orr, Bruce and Ellie.
Good. Kellyanne, thanks so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.